Alright, this is Course 2, Chapter 5, Lesson 4, which begins on page 210, talking about converting fractions to decimals and decimals back to fractions. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First, let's talk about converting fractions to decimals. Notice fractions, arrow, decimals. Okay, that's what we're doing right now. How do you convert fractions to decimals? Top divided by bottom. That's how you convert a fraction to a decimal. So for example, and you learned this last year, okay, you learned how to do, okay, 1/4, which meant you made the little box, top divided by bottom, you put the 1 inside, the 4 outside, and you said, okay, how many times does 4 go into 1? Well, it doesn't. So what do? I have to put a decimal point here and add a 0, and I put my decimal point, I copy my decimal point up on top. Now, how many times does 4 go into 10? 4 goes into 10 2 times. Okay? And 4 times 2 is 8. And 10 minus 8 is 2. You should all remember this. Okay? Now what do I have to do? Well, I'm not finished, so I have to add another 0 on the end here. And so now bring down that 0, and I ask 4 goes into 20 how many times? Well, 4 goes into 20 5 times. And 4 times 5 is 20. And I subtract, and I'm done. So 1/4 is equal to 0.25. By the way, 0.25 or just 0.25 are the same thing. Okay? But we now are 7th graders, and we now can use these beautiful things that we call calculators. Yay! And you're all expected to have a calculator by now. Okay? So what I want to teach you is I want to teach you how to use your calculator to do this. Because it's going to make life easier for you. It's going to make life faster for you. So you just do top divided by bottom equals. I have it written right here. Top divided by bottom equals on your calculator, and there goes your answer. So I take my calculator and I say 1 divided by 4 equals. And boom, it says 0.25. Let's see if I can get that there for you so you can see. There it is. There it is, 0.25. See it? Okay? Very, very simple. And then you don't have to go through all of this work. So if you didn't bring your calculator today, you should have it with you every day. You're going to need to borrow from someone so that you can practice this, doing it the quicker, easier way. Okay? So let's go ahead and try a few more. Let's erase this real quick. Okay, we know 1/4 is 0.25. Well, how about 2/5? So once again, I'm just going to take my calculator and I'm going to punch in 2 divided by 5 equals. And what do I get? Yeah, 0.4. So 2/5 is equal to 0.4 or 0.4. Very easy, right? Very, very, very easy. How about the repeaters? The repeaters are very important. These are numbers that will go on forever, right? Like 1/3. Many of you should already know about 1/3. Well, let's go ahead and take 1/3 and convert it to a decimal on our calculator. We're going to go 1 divided by 3 equals, and look at that, 0.33333333333, right? Goes on forever. 0.3333333. Well, we're not going to write that, okay? So we're going to write 0.3 and then what? And we're going to put a bar on top. That bar is called the repeating bar. So 1/3 is equal to 0.3 repeating. That bar says I know that it's going to keep going 3 forever. I know that. Okay? But I'm not going to write it. Why? Because I'm going to run out of paper. So I'm just going to put 1/3 and I'm going to put a repeating bar. Good? Good. How about 4/9? Let's take our calculator and let's punch in 4 divided by 9, and let's see what we get. Equals 0.444444444. Okay? So once again, that's 0.4 repeating. You got to make sure you put the repeating bar over the part that repeats. Okay? And we're going to get into that a little bit more. Let's do a few more examples. Let's do a few more examples. How about with mixed numbers? Let's say I have the following mixed number. Let's say I have 7 and 3 eighths. Okay? How do I change 7 and 3/8 into a decimal? You may have been told to do something like this before. Well, 8 times 7 is 56, plus 3 is 59, and then 59 over 8. And then take your calculator and say, okay, well, 59 divided by 8 equals 7.375. And that's correct, but that's more work than you need to do. That's correct, but that's more work than you need to do. Why? Because notice what's here. 7 as my whole number. Let's come back to the mixed number. What's here as my whole number? 7. That part didn't change. We already know that the whole number was going to be 7. The only part we were really concerned with is the 3/8. What does 3/8 become as a decimal? So when you get a mixed number and you want to know what it is as a decimal, you do not need to convert the entire mixed number into an improper fraction. You don't need to do it. All you need to do is keep the whole number and worry just about the fraction. So I could have, in 7 3/8, I could have just put the 7 here, 7 point, and then done 3 divided by 8 on my calculator. 3 divided by 8 equals, and I get 0.375. And just stick that on the end. And that's it. You're done. You're good. Let's take 14 and 14/27. Okay? 14 and 14/27. Are we going to have to do anything with this 14? No. We know that this is 14 and 14/27. And as a decimal, it's going to be 14 and something. Right? So we just leave the 14 there. All we got to worry about now is 14/27. So we come here to our calculator and we punch in 14 divided by 27 equals, what do we get? Get something long here. 0.518585. Okay? 0.518585. What do you think's happening here? Do we have a repeater? What's repeating? 518. So where do we put the bar? Over the whole thing. Because that's what it's going to do forever. It's going to go 14.518, 518, 518, 518, 518, 518. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Okay? And that's converting fractions into decimals, or mixed numbers into decimals. Let's talk about converting. Let's talk about some of our repeating decimals. Let's go ahead and see if we can put the repeating bar correctly on the following decimal. Okay? I have here 7.26858585, and then usually in the book when they put this dot dot dot, they're telling you this is going to keep going. Okay? So 7.26858585. How do I shorten this using the repeating bar? Well, are the 2 and the 6 going to repeat? No. What's repeating? 85, 85, 85. So I put 85, and where do I put the bar? Over the whole thing? Over just the 5? No, I put the bar over the 85, because that's what's repeating. When you have to write a repeating decimal, you have to put the bar over what is repeating. You have to. Okay? Only over what's repeating. Let's try another one to make sure you get it. $10.362497777 dot 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 dot. Well, what's this going to look like? 10.36249 with a repeating bar over what? 7. Because from this point on, it's going to keep going 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 forever. Okay? We good with that? Make sense? Yay! We just finished converting from fractions to decimals. Now we're going to go backwards and convert from decimals back to fractions. Okay? Which is simpler than it appears. It's not that difficult. You just got to take it easy and take your time. I'm going to show you some tricks. Hopefully they'll help you. Okay? First thing you got to be able to do is you have to be able to read decimal numbers correctly. Okay? So for example, this does not read as 0.4658. That's not how this reads. Many times I'll read the numbers like that in class just to get through it quick and just so people can check and make sure they have it. But this is actually 4,658 10,000ths. Okay? That's actually how you read it. And I'm going to show you some tricks that can help you with that. But let's talk about the first three decimal places. Okay? The first decimal place to the right of the decimal point is the tenths place. The second is the hundredths place. And the third is in the thousandths place. So if I have a decimal like this, 0.7, it ends in the first decimal place. That's 0.7, that's 7 tenths. Okay? And if I write that as a fraction, that's 7 over 10. Boom, you just converted a decimal to a fraction. No problem, right? If I have a decimal that ends in the second place, say for example, 0.13, okay? That's 0.13, but the way you're supposed to read it is 13 hundredths. And as a fraction, that looks like 13 over 100. Okay? 13 over 100. So you have to know the decimal places, and if you know the decimal places and you're able to read the decimal number based on the places, then you could change from a decimal to a fraction very, very easily. Now, some of us are better at this than others of us, and that's okay. Okay? So what do you do if you have a hard time remembering decimal places? Well, I have a trick for you that can help you. Let's look over here at this number that I wrote here. Let's say you look at 0.4658 and you don't know what it means. You don't remember what place it is. You don't remember that this is the 10,000ths. Very, very, very simple trick. Okay? Put a 1 under the decimal point and a 0 under every other digit in the decimal. And look and see what number you get. I put a 1 under the decimal point and a 0 under 4, 6, 5, and 8. And look what I got. I got 10,000. So that tells me that I can read this as 4,658 10,000ths. And that helps me out. And it works no matter how long the decimal number is. Doesn't matter. I'll just make a quick number up here. 9, 6, 0, 2, 4, 7, 8. There you go. Okay? Works no matter how long the decimal number is. You put a 1 under the decimal point and a 0 under everything else. Alright? And what number did I get here? I got 10 million. So that tells me I can read this as 9,602,478 10 millionths with that TH on the end. Makes life very simple, right? Let's say you need to convert 0.24, okay, 24 hundredths to a fraction. And remember, you always have to convert to a fraction in simplest form. Always have to use simplest form. So first you're saying, okay, 0.24 is what? If you use the trick, you see that it's 24 hundredths, right? So 0.24 is equal to 24 over 100. But that is not the end because that is not in simplest form. How do I know? Because they're both even numbers, right? So what can I divide by? I can start thinking of greatest common factors. Or you can go easy way and go little by little. But if you go little by little, make sure you finish it and you get to simplest form at the end. For example, I can decide, all right, they're both even numbers. Let me divide by 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 100 divided by 2 is 50. Okay? Am I done? No, those are still not in simplest form. What can I divide by now? 2 again? Okay. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 50 divided by 2 is 25. Now am I in simplest form? Yes, I'm in simplest form because the only common factor that 6 and 25 have is 1. So, what is 0.24 or 24 hundredths written as a fraction in simplest form? 6 over 25. What if it's a mixed number? What if it's a mixed number like like 5.75. Okay? Well, same thing we did last time, right? What's 5? 5 is a whole number. So 5 is going to remain a whole number on our mixed fraction. So this is going to equal 5 and something over something. Well, 5 and 75 what's? Hundredths. But hopefully we know that this is not in simplest form, and hopefully we know how to make this in simplest form. Because 75 and 100, that sounds like money, quarters, right? How many quarters make 75 cents? 3. How many quarters make $1? 4. So 5.75 written as a fraction in simplest form is 5 3/4. And that's how you convert decimals to fractions or mixed numbers.